brilliant human being who always put her family first. Next, we're going to hear from Aurora DeMarco, Phyllis's daughter-in-law and mother of grandchildren, Angelica and Ani.
Hi, everyone. When I first met Phyllis and Joe, it was 41 years ago, and I was a rough around the edges Italian from Long Island with big emotions and strong opinions. And I know some of you are like, well, what's changed? And I am like, not much. Despite all that, Phyllis and Joe were so loving and welcoming to me. They were generous, and Joe and I, in particular, had a very feisty, fun relationship. We loved debating, and I would visit them in Quentin Road, and I'd be working on a college paper about politics, and he would come in and ask me what I'm doing, and then slowly but surely we'd start talking about politics, and then our voices would raise, and then we'd debate, and then our voices would raise again, and Phyllis never complained about that, you know. I'm sure we got on her nerves, but she was like, I love hearing you guys argue politics. But Phyllis was a wonderful storyteller. I loved hearing her stories about her childhood. She went for elocution classes. She had to take lessons on how to eat right or how to eat properly. She taught me that when you eat sips soup, you should go like this so it cools by the time it gets to your mouth. But she also really loved her brother Joel, and I liked Joel a lot too. I liked him a lot too. She would say, from the very beginning, Joel was just good. And then she would tell a story about how when she was angry at her parents, she would threaten to run away from home. So she'd pack her bags, and then Joel would start to cry, and she would say, I'm staying for Joel. But Phyllis and I share a special bond because we both had immigrant mothers who escaped hard lives, and both our mothers died suddenly of a heart attack. So we really kind of understood each other in that way. She had a wonderful story about her mother. She said that she had run into someone that she was mad at, and in that moment she had to decide whether to hold on to the grudge or let it go. And what she heard was Nanny Sarah's voice in her head saying, be a mensch, Phyllis, be a mensch. But if I had to choose an archetype for Phyllis, I would choose the hero. I would say she was motivated by compassion and kindness, and she wanted to build a world filled with harmony. She brought intention and care and excellence to everything she did. And if I had to choose one for myself, I would say I'm the rebel. I am driven by a sense of justice, and I'm not afraid to shake things up when I think it will lead to a better world. So we had our differences, but nonetheless, we respected each other. I respected her choices, and I saw wisdom in them. And she really learned to understand where I was coming from too. And I think that's pretty remarkable. Coming from a working class background, as I said before, people had jobs that paid bills, but they didn't have careers. Phyllis would talk to me about her teaching career, and it was clear that it was more than a job. It was a calling for her. A lot of you know she won Teacher of the Year award, but she also was mentioned in a Pulitzer Prize winning book, Invisible Child, Poverty, Survival, and Hope in an American City by Andrea Elliott. In the book, a Black teacher named Miss Hester cites Phyllis as her inspiration for becoming a teacher. So I'm just going to read a little short passage from it. Miss Hester was 11 years old when Brooklyn schools began to desegregate. She enrolled in one of the first school busing programs, leaving Bed-Stuy every morning for the Brooklyn neighborhood of Midwood, where white boys chased after her, yelling, spitting and yelling, get out of our neighborhood. Miss Hester took refuge in her studies. Her favorite class was advanced literature, taught by a school legend, Phyllis Jaffe. As I loved her vocabulary, Miss Hester said. She was so aggravated by everything you wrote. Everything was imperfect. I felt like I could never measure up, but it wasn't because I was Black. It was because she was a great teacher. As many of you know, I was lucky enough to find my calling working in hospice as a deaf with families. Often it isn't easy. There are unresolved tensions, conflicts, old wounds, and sibling rivalries that surface. But it was just so wonderful to see Rob and Roz and Harriet work together so beautifully, and care for Phyllis, but also care for one another. And I know that must have meant something so powerful for Phyllis. And I hope my kids are the same. So, and finally, I got to address the beloved grandchildren, Julia, Owen, Ani, Angelica. I hope your memories of, sorry, I thought I could get through this, of Nanny bring you comfort throughout your lives. She adored each of you, and she gave you a rare and precious gift, the chance to witness someone age with grace, with joy, and with love at the center of it all.
Thank you, Aurora.